Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the 2008 rom-com film Definitely Maybe. This is written and directed by Adam Brooks. Now, it's funny because I just watched Jumper, which came out Valentine's Day 2008. And this movie came out Valentine's Day 2008, my senior year of high school. I can't remember what I was doing Valentine's Day 2008, but it wasn't going to see Jumper and it wasn't going to see Definitely Maybe. I'm pretty sure I was doing a show. I was acting a lot back then. So I feel like I was on stage Valentine's Day 2008. Maybe. I don't remember. High school's a blur. A long time ago. But I just find it funny that two recent movies that I just happened to be reviewing both came out the same day. So, fun. So Adam Brooks wrote and directed this movie. Stars Ryan Reynolds, Rachel Weisz, Isla Fisher, and Elizabeth Banks. I couldn't get her name out for some reason. Abigail Breslin is also in this as well. Abigail Breslin's a force to be reckoned with. I'm so glad she jumped to the horror comedy bit, especially with Scream Queens. Her role in Scream Queens, you know, is hysterical. Absolutely hysterical. Hers number 3. So this movie is Abigail plays Ryan Reynolds' daughter, and Ryan is getting a divorce from her mom. Filmed on location in New York City, takes place in all of New York City. And Abigail wants to hear the story of how her dad met her mom. Trying to convince him that he doesn't have to get a divorce, but we'll see. So he tells the story, but he explains it's complicated. It's a complicated story. To simplify, his college sweetheart, Elizabeth Banks, was roommates with Rachel Weisz at one point. They hooked up at one point. So when Ryan got a job to work on Bill Clinton's 92 campaign in the city for the New York primary, he was going there for 2 months to help run the election campaign, things of that nature. And he was given a book from Elizabeth's character, who they called Emily, to give to Rachel's character, who they call Summer. They kind of changed the names on that. So he meets up with Summer, gives her the book, gets involved with her life, but he meets Isla's character of April at the campaign center. She's just making copies. She's getting paid, to make copies. So that's how they all meet. So it's these 3 women involved in Ryan's life, and it's a matter of he wants to propose to Emily. He wants to then propose to Summer. Eventually, he then realizes that he actually loves April after he's kind of dumped by the other 2. So it's just a circle going back. And then kind of towards the end, it's a matter of meeting up with Summer years later, who then reintroduces him to Emily, and then they get back together because it turns out that Emily, Elizabeth Banks' character, is actually Abigail Breslin's mom, and Abigail figures it out because it's a mystery story, as she calls it. It's a bedtime story, and that's the great part of this. Because Elizabeth Banks does this, floof of the hair kind of thing. It's okay, whatever. To someone else. So it's if I'm going to brush your hair behind your ear kind of a thing. And she does that to Abigail, and that's how Abigail's character of Maya knew that Elizabeth Banks' character is her mom. But she wants her dad to be happy, and the only way for her dad to be happy is to reach back out to April to give her the book that her dad gave her of Jane Eyre that he found in a used bookstore many, many years ago, and he didn't want to give it back because that was the only thing left of hers that he had, and he didn't want to give the last piece of her away because he still loved her. So Maya convinces him to go to Isla Fisher's apartment to hear the story of the women that, her dad loved and the woman that he is in love with, kind of a thing. So it was a fun twist of who slept with who when, and things of that nature, because it was a mystery. It was a mystery movie, and I hadn't seen anything like this. I've never seen this movie. So for it to be 12 years later and I've finally seen this movie, I am very impressed. And I love all 4 of those main actresses, all 5 of those main actor and actresses, for that matter, all 4 strong females that they are. It's a fun movie because it alludes to you don't have to be with the person you have a child with. You are entitled to love. So I thought that was pretty neat. But at also some points it referenced that not all stories have happy endings. So I liked the duality of this movie. Very hard to do that. Duality is a very tricky bastard, if you will. So I am extremely impressed with this movie. I'm very happy that Ryan Reynolds and Isla Fisher got together at the end with Abigail Breslin as the daughter of Elizabeth Banks. You know, in this age of sequels from years later, it's entirely possible to do a sequel to this, to have all of the females come back in one way or another to help prepare for Abigail's wedding or something like that. I think that would be very entertaining to look at. I don't know how well this movie did, to be honest. I don't know the box office of it. I knew this movie existed, I just never knew anything about it. So obviously it doesn't really have that big of a staying power, but I don't understand why, because this is a great movie. Adam Brooks did a great job writing and directing this film. I am extremely impressed. So yeah, thank you Netflix for that recommendation. I give you that. Mucho mahalo.